Hello, it's Susan Duclos, All News Pipeline. It is May 23rd, 2017, and a lot's been blowing up about this Seth Rich investigation or lack of investigation since the 20th, or actually the 19th. Evidently, Washington Post decided to do a story on how the Seth Rich murder, who was a DNC staffer that was shot in the back twice, uh, before WikiLeaks started publishing the DNC and the Clinton campaign Podesta emails. Now, many thought a lot of the story didn't add up. Well, we've had a lot happen lately. A private investigator that was hired by a third party but has a contract with the family of Seth Rich went on Fox News and said that there's evidence on Rich's computer that he communicated with WikiLeaks, sent them files and attachments. But more interesting enough, this guy, this internet entrepreneur, this hacker, Kim.com, he's now saying that he was in contact with Rich and WikiLeaks, and he was involved with the DNC hacks, or leaks, which would totally blow the Russia aspect of everybody claiming Russia was behind the hacks out of the water. So, real quick, you will see back in December 2014, Kim.com had said he's going to be Hillary's worst nightmare in 2016. Following that, in 2015, Bloomberg did a story on Kim.com where he said that WikiLeaks was going to be Hillary's worst nightmare, even more than he was. Now, on the 20th, Kim.com came out saying, I knew Seth Rich. I know he was the WikiLeaks source. I was involved. Sean Hannity, of course, offered a public invitation to be a guest on radio and TV. Kim.com said, I'm meeting my legal team Monday. I'll issue a statement about Seth Rich on Tuesday, which would be today. Now, he's also offered written testimony. He does live in New Zealand. Written testimony to Congress saying that he had evidence that Seth Rich was WikiLeaks' source. Now, the Washington Post immediately comes out with a story on how it's all a big conspiracy, and it backfired completely because the story just blew up. Well, we have some more information now. First, I'd like to mention that Rich was killed on July 10th, 2016. Now, there is a tweet from Kim.com 2 days later, and this is before WikiLeaks published the Podesta emails and the DNC emails, which cost Debbie Wasserman Schultz her job when they found out that they were rigging the primaries for Hillary and actively working against Bernie Sanders. Now, if you look at the date on this tweet from Kim.com, and it's his verified account, so it is him, July 12th, 2016. Again, Seth Rich was murdered, shot in the back twice in what official story says was a botched robbery that they've never caught the perpetrator on July 10th. This was 2 days later and before WikiLeaks started doing it. And he said, will hackers own the U.S. presidential election and prevent Hillary Clinton? And he put the hashtag WikiLeaks on there. Now, anybody who's been paying attention to this story knows that Julian Assange publicly said that leakers take big risks and immediately segged into there's this 27-year-old DNC staff worker who was just killed. Nobody else brought up Seth Rich at the time. He did. Now, WikiLeaks has a practice and a policy of never revealing their sources, but he practically drew a map straight to leading us to believing that Seth Rich was the leaker. Okay, moving along. Okay, this was my follow-up story the next day when we ran across a lot more information. Seth Rich's cousin, Jonathan, put out a tweet saying that he had told his father when Seth Rich was murdered that he knew something that got him killed. Then he deleted the tweet after another member of the Rich family told him he needed to filter, and now it wasn't the time or the place to be discussing this. And the family representative or spokesperson just happens to be a Dem crisis communications agent. And he melts down on Twitter when Sean Hannity and Newt Gingrich, and now that it's being talked about and there's a lot of exposure on this, the guy absolutely melted down on Twitter. So let's go through this real quick. Um, let's see. Okay, we'll go to the cousin's tweet first. On May 15, 2017, Sean Hannity shared a Fox 2 News report titled Families Private Investigator. There's evidence Seth Rich had contact with WikiLeaks prior to the death. And Sean Hannity said, "Thoughts, Twitter?" he asked. Seth Rich's cousin, Jonathan Rich, less than an hour after, responded to Hannity, saying, "First thing I said when my dad told me was he knew something and he was murdered. The rest of the family thought I was nuts. See last name." The next day, a Twitter user named Andy Rich, reprimanded Jonathan, saying, "This is not the place and not a topic for you to comment on. I love you, but filter, bro," with the hashtag family. Now, Jonathan's tweet deleted right after Andy said that, but this is the internet, so there is an archived version of it. And there it is. Replying to Sean Hannity. "First thing I said when my dad told me he knew something and he was murdered. The rest of the family thought I was nuts. See last name, Andy Rich. Not the time or place. Not a topic for you to comment on. I love you, but filter, bro." Now, following that, after his initial tweet, but before, the guy Andy basically told him to filter it out, which was the next day. James Woods had put out a tweet. "When will the Russia gag start to wear thin? We are so over this baseless whining. Aren't the toddler tantrums wearing the lefties out?" Jonathan Rich again, maybe tomorrow when Seth Rich story hits Fox News. So you have a cousin who absolutely believes he was killed because he was the leaker. Because the Seth Rich story on Fox News was all about his communications with WikiLeaks. Now, despite deleting his initial tweet on May 21st, after the internet blew up with the Seth Rich story again, and Washington Post tried to kill it, Jonathan then retweeted another Hannity message that said .com, Kim.com announcement coming. All please follow at Kim.com for further details. Jonathan retweeted that. So he's not giving up on the fact that he believes there's something going on. Now, last but not least, Jonathan's interest nor his opinion is new because back in November 2016, he responded to a tweet linking to a podcast that asked, "Why do people close to Hillary and Bill Clinton tend to end up dead in weird ways?" And his response was 3 words, "Like my cousin." Okay, so pretty much, at least one member of the family thinks he was killed because of leaking information to WikiLeaks. Now, let's get to the Democratic crisis communications agent. In August, WikiLeaks highlighted the fact that a man named Brad Bauman was the Rich family's new spokesman, and he described him as a professional Democratic crisis PR consultant. Now, let's take a look at his LinkedIn page to prove that WikiLeaks wasn't lying. Brad Bauman, a partner at the Past Storm Group. And what does the Past Storm Group do? Managing a crisis communications and full service public relations firm, January 2016 to present, and January 2014 to present, also providing strategic communication advice to Democratic candidates and labor unions. So WikiLeaks is right. The man is a Democratic crisis communications agent. So back to his little meltdown here. His service obviously include any high profile personalities that are discussing Seth Rich murder on Twitter. That includes former House Speaker and presidential candidate Newt Gingrich, who recently went on public television and brought up the strange death of Seth Rich and how thousands, tens of thousands of his emails were sent to WikiLeaks. That also includes Fox News host Sean Hannity, who's all over this Kim.com upcoming revelation. And he went after the original Fox 5 writer that reported on the connection between Seth Rich and WikiLeaks. Her name is Malia Zimmerman. And he went after Kim.com too. On May 21st, he just went nuts. I sincerely hope you never have to feel the pain these folks Newt Gingrich and Kim.com, and then Newt Gingrich proved my case. Only those with agendas are sociopaths, still pushing Seth Rich conspiracy. In this case, he's both. Guess what? Kim.com, I don't buy it. Think you have an agenda or a sociopath. Which is it? If Kim.com cared about Seth Rich, why has he been silent for so long? Why didn't he come in before? Only now to max impact. And if Kim.com knew Seth Rich, why wasn't he at the funeral? Well, hello, he is fighting extradition for other related, unrelated things, although kind of semi-related because evidently he hated Hillary Clinton, so it gave a good reason for him to want to see her destroyed. Why wasn't he at the funeral? He's in New Zealand. And then another one he put out, if Kim.com had one shred of evidence, he would have called the family or the police, not Sean Hannity first. Well, he didn't call Sean Hannity. He's simply coming out now. So in this piece, there's the Gingrich reference to him. I'll put links to all of this in the comment section. You can follow up. Now, there's also a video of Julian Assange linking Seth Rich to the leaks, while technically not stating outright he was it. Uh, Another interesting thing, May 21st, in the midst of all of this, they made sure WikiLeaks never disclosed a source, but sometimes they talk to other parties, but identities never emerged from WikiLeaks, and they deliberately put the hashtag Seth Rich. Now, John Hannity says that there's complete panic has set in at the highest levels of the Democratic Party, and he bets when the kitchen sink is dumped on my head. There's a lot to read here. Now, the best case scenario, the best case scenario is that Kim.com has absolutely unimpeachable proof that Seth Rich was the leaker to WikiLeaks. Barring that, the second best outcome for this not to be what they would call a nothing burger is if he could prove that he had personal contact with Seth Rich before he died, that they were in communication, because it would give a level of credence to his assertion that he knew Seth Rich, he was involved. We already know he was involved because of the July 12th tweet, July 12th, 2016 tweet saying WikiLeaks was going to blow Hillary Clinton out of the water, or copying in WikiLeaks hashtag saying hacking was going to destroy Hillary Clinton. And that was 2 days after Seth Rich's murder and before WikiLeaks started putting stuff out. So this Kim.com, no matter how you cut it, from his 2014 assertion, 2015 assertion, to right after Seth Rich's death, he's already proved he knew WikiLeaks was going to come out with a ton of information. So either he was the hacker, he really knew Seth Rich, and he has information on it. Those are the only two possibilities, which both of them seem to suggest Russia was not behind the hack. And that might be why you've got BuzzFeed, you've got Washington Post. They are going after anybody that's talking about that. They're attacking Newt Gingrich. They're attacking Sean Hannity. They're attacking Gateway Pundit. They're attacking anybody talking about this. Why? Because the whole narrative of Russia being behind the leaks is completely blown out of the water if any proof comes out. And this Kim.com thing, say what you will about him, whether you like the guy or not. He announced it in 2014. He reiterated it in 2015. Before the leaks came out, he said it was going to happen in 2016. He's got something to do with this because he knew. He knew beforehand, and the tweets are out there. They're archived. They're still up. So there's something very strange going on here. And we're hoping Kim.com has something other than just his word. Because just his word is no better than these anonymous sources that Washington Post and New York Times and everybody keeps using. We're hoping he has some kind of physical evidence, whether it's emails, whether it's private chat communications, whether it's recordings, some sort of anything that connects him to Seth Rich, because we already know there's a connection between him, WikiLeaks, and the emails. Now, one last point, Julian Assange has made it clear that the information came to them via a leak, not a hack. Big, big difference there, folks. So, today's the day that Kim.com speaks. It's either going to be a bunch of nothing or it's going to be something big. Either way, expect the mainstream media to continue attacking anybody that even dares ask questions about this.